Hey everyone, welcome to episode 6 of HorseShow360 podcast. I'm joined here with this lovely fellow, Karl Cook. We appreciate you all tuning in. Tune into our social media, Instagram, HorseShow360. You can tune in on all of our podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are streamed. Karl, thanks for joining us today. I want to ask you a few questions, okay? Some personal, some not.
Right.
First question I think everybody wants to know about is how'd you convince Mackenzie to marry you?
I also
pretty
have
fucking weird.
That checks out. I have no idea. I think she has bad taste.
Clearly.
Me?
She had horrible taste. Sorry,
Hey,
Michelle.
Yeah, I was about to say so is Michelle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the first question I wanted to ask, but no, Karl's been a longtime friend of mine. Please don't take offense to anything we may say to each other during this next 30 minutes, right? Fair enough? But honestly, what do you think of having this event here in LA? You think it's a good setup?
Yeah, I
Think we missed anything?
haven't seen everything yet. I haven't seen all the show yet, but I grew up going to the, Del Mar Fairgrounds, the horse show there. And, that show made sense. It's, you're showing horses at a facility that's built for race horses when they're not racing horses. It just, it made sense. And I wished there was more of that because these facilities are sitting around. They're designed for horses. And when there's no racing here, they should be used, for the rest of horse sport. And, it's a great thing to bring jumping, to this venue that's had so much history. And also it's 2 hours from home. So that's never a bad thing for me.
Yeah. And hopefully it increases the level here on the West Coast. Honestly, the team at Santa Anita and everyone involved in this project has just been incredible. And clearly they've given like the complete reins to do everything the right way, and when we think about it, it's hard to believe actually. This is Split Rock's first 5-star we've ever organized. We've been organizing events for 11 years. We've been organizing rated events for 11 years, other events for 13, 14 years. And, it's been kind of like a slow progression for us to get there. I didn't want to rush it. I wanted to make sure that the conditions were right to do a 5-star. I didn't want to half-ass it. And honestly, the team has like gone above and beyond on a lot of things. And it's like a blend of like two capable teams in their own right. And I think our team was ready to do this. And, it's been a year and a half of planning and everything, but...
Well, they gave you a lot of latitude because, the rings are permanent. It wasn't, the show isn't band-aided into a space that, you have to be move in 2 days, move out in 2 days. And so there's clearly a desire from the Santa Anita team to, actually build something.
Yeah, and that they did. I mean, literally, I think on Sunday, it was the single best meal I've ever had at a horse show in the hospitality area. Like, it was ridiculous. It was so cool. It was one of like your barbecue styles. They had like a whole leg of a cow.
Cool.
And they were out there. It was so freaking good. But no, they literally hit on every level. And they have such a vast team that's responsible for so many different things that it just really came together. I mean, the stabling area, working on the flow coming into here. I know you're pretty critical of shows and venues and different variables and footing and, stabling environment for the horses and all this kind of stuff. But like, do you see anything that you think at this point that we could have done different? Like, obviously we hit on the views.
But yeah. I mean, I like the bridge across the grass. That's kind of fun. No, there's nothing major structural that is not here. It's well put together, and I mean, there's always little things to tweak and change, but there's nothing to complain about yet.
You're not really giving me much.
I'm giving you what you get.
Well, I feel like you're being too nice. I expect you to be like how you normally are, pain in the ass,
Okay, the only thing I would like is some more rubber mats so I can walk my plastic shoes on rubber
I heard
mats.
about that. I gave you a lot of rubber mats.
Yeah, you did. That's why I didn't say anything, and I know my use case is different than most people's.
So like, where are you missing mats?
From my FEI,
From your
all-
aisle
yeah.
to the exit of the FEI?
Yeah. Like
So
that.
what he's talking about is we rubber matted pretty much everywhere we could. The stabling area is in a parking lot, for lack of a better way to put it. It's a parking lot. So we put the FEI stables. They're brand new 12 by 12 stalls, good width aisles. We matted the aisles of the barns.
Matted all the stalls, so on asphalt.
So they're not on asphalt, but what he's talking about is when you leave the barn, you got to walk about 100 yards maybe to the next rubber mat. You have glue-on shoes or plastic shoes?
Plastic nail-on shoes.
Yeah, so
it's just a bit of
you always do.
Huh?
Weird shit.
I am there to compete and win, and I'll do what I can do to do that. But no,
Why do you always do weird shit? Why do you gotta try such weird shit?
Because the same old stuff doesn't work. You gotta keep getting better. Just gotta keep getting better.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, what color am I wearing? They're sweet.
They're blue or
they're blue. I asked if they could come in red and embroider like Christian Louboutin on them, but working on that.
Yeah, no, and you've like obviously you're coming off of the Olympics this year,
yeah.
So you did pretty well.
It's a good week.
You know, you could
have done better.
Could have done better. We talked about that.
I really messed up the last day. That's
a ridiculous outlook on it. I told you that, but you know, honestly, you're freaking incredible and an inspiration to really anybody that's fighting for anything more. You know, one of the best things that I took from watching you at the Olympics as my friend, obviously, and I don't normally ever give you praise because you're generally an asshole, but one of my favorite quotes on this planet that I've heard is when I was watching the U.S. Open tennis tournament, Arthur Ashe Stadium, when the athletes and the tennis players walk out onto the main court, right? There's a quote on the wall when you leave, when they're leaving onto the court, and it says, "Pressure is a privilege." I think that's one of my favorite quotes ever, because that and no pain, no gain, right? Those two are my favorite. Pretty cliche, but it's so true. Like if you're given an opportunity to rise to the occasion, you got to embrace it. And the fact that
you've been working for, like you just
your whole life,
you just walk in and it just happens. Go in,
and you got to create and do your job and not let the pressure overcome you and everything. It's kind of the same for me doing the first 5-star. Like, I mean, I think a lot of people take for granted the work that goes into getting to that point or something. And
be able to do it well.
Be able to do it well. You got to prepare for it. But like you said, you worked your whole life to do that. I worked my whole life to do this. And it's an opportunity that you can't let go. And, you know, it's so true, because if anybody's in a position to feel any kind of pressure, that means you're privileged. You're privileged in a way to have the opportunity.
It makes you better
to be and you gotta take it. You gotta grab it. And that's what watching you, cheering you on the TV at home with Michelle and the family is like, it literally, no joke. It kind of brought us to tears, because we knew how hard you fought to get there over the years. And, I think I don't know if you know it, but you for sure inspired probably more people than anybody this year. So good job.
I think that's an overstatement, but thank you.
No, it's not an overstatement.
We had our goal to go to the games, and we did everything we could to get there.
Where's your medal?
It's at home.
Like, is it on the wall? Is it in your case in the barn?
I have a small area that...
Why aren't you wearing it?
I've only worn it once.
What?
No. I only wore it once.
Not going to put it on again?
No need to. We're going forward.
What, to do better?
Yeah.
You're ridiculous.
It's a silver, and I want a gold, and
now
I also want an individual gold. So you got to learn from it.
I'm not saying you can't do it. You can do it. I'm not laughing because I don't think you're going to do it. You just sound like an idiot, but that's good.
No, I think Caracol's groom, my horse's groom, slept with it for 2 weeks after.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
But have you walked around the place as well anymore?
Not yet. I've just come to ride, but I'll walk around tomorrow.
There's one place you got to go check out. It's called Clocker's Corner. It's where all the trainers, thoroughbred trainers,
Yeah.
watch all their horses run in at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. They get
Right, you're
cool.
more than that.
But that's the prime
Yeah.
time, and it's pretty iconic. It's so cool.
I came here to watch the races 11 years ago. I've only been here once. Watched the races one day, and it's cool to see.
Well, I don't know if people realize it, but we don't start our competition days until 10:30 a.m.
I see
because they're training on the track and they're running around like crazy, and none of our horses are allowed on the infield until that's totally finished.
Oh, that's
But
why.
it's
I thought you were letting us sleep in.
no, I wish I was not.
Yeah, so you get more
long days. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a squeeze here, but it's gonna be good. You want to take a walk and check out the footing with me? We'll talk about footing a little bit.
Let's do it.
Let's go check out the footing in the ring, see if Karl approves.
We have to see what the machine says.
What machine? What are you talking about?
My machine.
Your machine? What's it called?
Name Edna. It had an acronym name, but I thought Edna was
You
better.
explain to them what you're talking about?
It's a machine that was developed by a Swedish researcher named Lars Robstoff to basically measure footing. And it has like a fake hoof that runs on rails. And so the machine basically creates an impact by the fake hoof sliding on the rails and hitting the footing. And by having the same force that hits the footing, then the sensors can pick up differences in what it hit. And that's how it measures the footing, is by measuring differences in that impact. Higher G's, lower G's, that type of thing. And that way we can not only correlate, being like, does this footing measure the same, different, or similar to another footing we know, and over time, measuring hundreds and hundreds of arenas and doing a lot of research, there's a lot of, more or less like a standard. There's ranges that you're going for in the 5 main parameters. It measures way more, but that's arguably more for research than practical us at a horse show.
Can you show us the images of the hoof prints and everything, and maybe get a shot of the footing and see? Oh, good, the trucks are coming in. Actually, we can get a few shots of them. So here you can see ESI is our team that handles all of our footing at all of our events. They did an absolutely incredible job here at Santa Anita, making sure that these arenas are absolutely perfect for the first 5-star ever here since the 1984 Olympics. As you can see, the hoof prints and the footing are absolutely, honestly perfect, what we want, right? Wouldn't you say? Or the depth of the footprints, the cushioning, how does it feel to your educated? This hasn't been drug since 1 o'clock, so 3.5 hours.
Yeah. I mean, so, there's a couple areas of footing. We could look at just the visual of the footprints, but there's also deeper layers that really matter. So it can, depth of the footprints and like the sound can be a good way, but it's one of the first things I learned by measuring arenas was that those metrics are deceptive. There were footings just by the sound I would hear. I'm like, oh, for sure, this is really hard footing. Then I'd go measure, and I'd be like, what? Because it was softer than I thought in the objective measurement, and it was quite interesting to get proven wrong. And so now it's still, you still have your metrics, but it's a combination between the foot depth, also how the foot goes down when it's in impact. And you look at how it breaks away in the toe. How, when you run, you kind of kick some dirt back, that sort of thing to allow the foot to roll and push. But when I rode out here, it feels super comfortable for the horses. And it's super consistent, which is for me always the main thing. People are like, well, what is good footing? I was like, well, first you got to get consistent. It might be consistently too soft. You gotta be consistent first. Sure. And it's super consistent. It feels like very good show footing.
Perfect. That's what it's supposed to be. I was a little worried, honestly, because this arena for, I mean, 5-star outdoor facility purposes, this arena could be considered on the smaller side, right? It's 150 wide by 300 long. We used all the corners, so there's squared corners. That helps a lot. It actually, we had a Grand Prix last week. It rode great. There was absolutely no issues whatsoever with the size. But my main concern was that, are we going to have it tight enough for the 5-star, $1.60, $400,000 type of Grand Prix cadence?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
and that's a big factor. You have to have it soft enough, but firm enough.
I mean, that is a big question because, you know, when you're jumping higher, you're putting exponentially higher forces on the footing. You know, you could think of like, if you're jumping 0.80, are you really, does it take half as much effort to jump 0.80 as 1.60 meters? No, it's an exponential. So you're putting so much more forces in. So the footing might be perfect for a 140 Grand Prix, but just a disaster for us in you know, the 165 stars. And also we're turning so much sharper. We're putting so much load into the footing.
Sure. No, I put my faith obviously in Brett's company, Brett Raffelitz, who owns ESI. I've actually, the tractors are coming in, you know, every detail, like what kind of drags we're using. Are we putting the teeth in the front and the back and the concrete drag or a regular drag?
And I'm going to get louder as we talk.
Oh, yeah, we're back. Maybe we go this way. So obviously ESI helps us with all the footing and everything. And I honestly, like, my general feeling for this event, these arenas have been in for 3 months.
Yeah, which is, thankfully, it's a good amount of time. They went in last week. You know, it's really hard to break in these.
No, you can't. You literally can't. I mean, you can, but it's not ideal.
It's really hard.
You know what I mean? So, like, luckily, but this, for me, like, we've done a lot of events together, meaning ESI and myself. They've been my footing provider for as long as I can remember, because honestly, like, I feel like I can trust them. They come with the proper equipment.
Yep.
They come with all the different types of things to absolutely make it perfect.
And the institutional knowledge. It's like why you pick your course builders. You know, you pick your course builders because you know them, you've worked with them, and they give, you know, the results that you're looking for.
Trust.
Yep, and you have that trust that, you know, you're putting all this time and effort into this, and they'll give you, you know, what you need, you know, from them.
But I think that this, for me, and I'm not just saying this because this is our biggest event we've done or our first 5-star, I think they took it to another level with this one. And for me, since I stepped foot on it the first time they put it in September, we had it ready for our site visit with FEI and everything, it just felt like it was going to be freaking good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I don't have a worry about it, which literally, I mean, what, in your opinion, like, what's your number one criteria at events you go to? Is it footing?
Footing number one, safe stalls number 2, and good bathrooms is number 3. I know it sounds weird as a number 3,
so
but
fucking weird.
We've been to a lot of shows.
Like bathroom.
Yeah.
We got permanent bathroom right there for you. Okay. There's also some nice trailers, so you can go do your thing.
Hey, you gotta get that Zen moment before you go in the ring.
The release.
I said Zen moment. You chose release.
Yeah. So this is the warm-up ring.
Yep.
I don't know. You can do a twirl. Maybe the camera can do a twirl and check out. This is the warm-up ring. You can see the main arenas also.
Did you guys talk about lifting the lights a little bit?
We talked about it a lot, actually. You know, we're going to test the lights actually tonight. You can see the sun's going down about 4:45, 5 o'clock. We're going to turn the lights on and give a little intro into what it's going to feel like in there. Honestly, we started lower. We realized it was way too low.
Yeah, I was at a show a couple years back, and they had lower lights, and it was a weird feeling. It really was.
These are 33 feet to be exact. A little bit higher on the right than they are on the left side in front of the VIP. I said to the owner of the facility a little while ago, she was asking me if I had any questions about this show and our preparation and everything. I mean, I feel like we've thought about everything we possibly could think about, but I'd say the lights are a little bit of an insecurity for me. We've tested them. I was out here with Anderson the other day, and we put jumps in the ring. We placed them to see where the shadows would be and everything. We made some tweaks and adjustments, and right now it's the best it's gonna be and can be. And do I think it's good enough? Yes.
Good. Yeah. I haven't seen it. I haven't
Would
seen
I
it with the lights
say-
on.
Can I sit here and say, could it be brighter? Yes. But I think it's good enough. I think it's definitely brighter than several shows that I've competed in and been at. It's a little bit difficult in a temporary setting. We had
It's
a
really rough to have it so dark.
we had it we had a lot of variables to deal with in choosing that, actually. So you can see that literally the racetrack's right here, right next to us, right next to the main ring. And we can't park anything for a long period of time on the track.
Yeah.
So, you know, those massive like light towers, they come on a big truck and you put them sky high, 60 feet high, but you know, we couldn't do that because we'd have to park them on the track.
Yeah.
So that was out. You know, that was our first choice. You know, but so with the way these arenas kind of like fit in here, you know, we're kind of a little bit limited on, you know.
You can see the feet, how they move when you watch this horse canter by. See how it kind of sinks into the, it kind of sinks in, but so when you see the footprint's actually higher than how deep the horse actually got. And that's why sometimes the footprint can be deceiving, because you want it to, that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
So we haven't fucked that up.
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, so the lights are a little bit of an insecurity for me. Honestly, because I'm not a big, as an organizer, I have a lot of shows, but I'm not a big night class person. I've kind of like left those variables out because I don't want to fuck it up.
It's challenging.
Here-
And it's hard on the staff too. Like on all of us in the barn, you know, those late classes, say we end at like 9:30, which is an early end, 10:30. You know, those, you know, everyone in the barns aren't leaving till 10:30, 11.
Until 10:30 the next morning, so you can sleep well.
Yeah. But in most shows, you know, it's, but they still got to eat on their schedule. It's just, but we also do like showing under the lights. You know, it is kind of fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this atmosphere that they're going to create for Saturday night is like, I'm so excited because it's going to present the sport in such a good, no pun intended, light.
Yeah. And it's fun, you know, a little bit what I saw growing up at the Del Mar show is the fairgrounds and the racetrack there have, you know, built-in audience of people that come to the races. And same here at Santa Anita. So they have people that, you know, come here regularly. So another horse event here, they already have sort of a built-in audience that, you know, comes to the races. And some of them might say, hey, you know, this might be interesting to, you know, to come down for. And
Well, it doesn't get more iconic than this venue.
yeah.
I mean, like, to have that 90-year-old grandstand, their team's capabilities, the mountains right there,
It's iconic.
the thought process that went into developing these arenas and the way where they're positioned and everything has been pretty special to be a part of.
Yep.
And honestly, it's like an honor to have like all the top riders, including yourself, a whole U.S. team that was on the Olympics this year,
Yep.
4 top 10 riders, everything like that. Have them trust us in a first-year venue,
Yep.
and an event to say, you know, you only get one first impression. And hopefully we did a good enough job to put it out there. But again, we're excited about it. Maybe we do a little bit more chatting later in the week.
Yeah.
And you
After I've jumped on it. Yeah. Because I jump on it tomorrow. I don't think you fucked up.
Now that you've competed here, we did a little bit of conversation the other day before all the competition started and everything. You feel like it's what you expected, the environment's good enough, facilities are good enough? Like, what's your overall impression of the new venue and show?
I think the venue's put together really well, you know, from back of the barns, the wash racks, the way those are set up. We have a lot of riding space out in the back. We have a lot of lunging space, places to graze. You know, the facility's also relatively tight, so it's not, you know, we're not walking for 10 miles to get to the arena. The warm-up ring can fit 4 fences, which is really nice. And then the ring, it rides well. You know, it's right in this medium zone in size. And so it has elements of a big ring and elements of a small ring. And the horses seem pretty settled in it. You know, for a new arena for every horse here, you know, even some of the spookier horses, they're pretty settled in it. And they're all jumping well out of it. And I think Anderson's doing a great job with his courses as well, you know, matching it to the classes. And I think everyone is very happy.
Appreciate it. You got anything negative you can think of?
I mean, the classes start late and it's way past my bedtime.
And it's a little cold. It's been a little cold.
Yeah, but you know, you can't control the weather.
47
Yeah.
degrees and whatever. But honestly, it's been pretty amazing actually to hear people's reactions and how good it is. But it's just, you know, our team has just worked so hard to make sure these details make it feel like it's not a first year event.
No, and it definitely doesn't feel like a first year.
And what do you think of the footing? I know we've talked about it before, but
yeah, I mean, the footing's been very consistent throughout, which is the, you know, first thing. You know, there are high spots and low spots, dry spots and wet spots, but all the horses seem to be jumping really well out of it, and no horses really trip from the footing, slip because of the footing, and I think it's doing the job it needs to do to allow us, the riders, to jump the way we need.
yeah. What do you think? What do you think is more hairy fight? I mean, honestly, I think this is some of the best footing Britt's ever done. Honestly, he's been doing footing for ESI. They've been doing footing for us at every event we do all year. But this seems like it's been given like some extra special attention, and it's just been so good all week.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything in particular you want to talk about? You want to let everybody know?
I don't know. I look forward to more weeks of showing here. You know, I'm hoping that this is not just 2 weeks a year we get to come here. I think this will be great for California, and I heard there's some rumors of a grass arena possibly, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah. What I know for you, you're used to doing your walking and talking, and you know, picking up specific topics that you think people might be interested in hearing, or maybe you're just interested in. I don't know, one or the other. I think for me, the one thing that's pretty unique about you is everybody that does this, I don't know about everybody, but most people that do this sport at a really high level, everybody formulates their own, you know, formula to success, right? Like everybody has their own plan, their own routine, their own structure, but you seem to have like a really unique relationship with your horses. I feel like, I don't want to say you pay more attention to, because everybody does it a different way. You definitely have like unique ways of paying attention to the way of your horses, whether it be taking more time or other things. Can you talk a little bit about like what that means to you and why you do it so differently? I don't know if it is so differently, but it looks like you do.
I mean, I think for me, you know, a way I could like say it sarcastically, but there is truth in it, is I don't feel like I'm a good enough rider to put them into a mold. You know, like some riders you always see, and the horses all go the same shape, the same jump, all that's the same throughout many horses over many years, and I just can't do that personally. I don't know how to do that. But I think beyond the sarcasm to that statement, I also don't want to do that. You know, each horse has their things that they're capable of getting better at. We try to work on that. And if it's something that they can't really get better at right now or ever, then we try to find a workaround, and instead of trying to force the issue. And would another way work better for me? Maybe. Yeah. But it's working right now, and I think if the more we let their personalities out, the better they are.
I think that's a pretty inspiring statement, because it's interesting you said that. I don't think I'm a good enough rider to make them conform into one particular way or something. And I think that it's really important that everybody sort of recognizes their own strengths and weaknesses. You know, for me, when I was riding, you know, I tried for a long time. I guess you could say, good enough. I felt like I had a good enough work ethic, everything. But in the end, you know, I felt like my life's role was a little bit better direction to show organizing. Like I felt like I could work towards being the best at that. I didn't feel like I could work towards being the best rider. And honestly, my internal goals inside and drive, like that wasn't enough for me. You know, if I'm going to do something, I want to try to do it at best. But you kind of found your own workaround to that, even if internally, like if you can only be as successful if you're realistic with yourself.
Yep.
And to answer that question and then go and find the workaround, find the extra mile that makes it work for you and your system and your program. Like that's what people have to do in life. Like the older we get, you're still pretty young, but I'm getting pretty old. But like the older we get, like you got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta be
But
honest.
we're also taught one way a lot, and there's the American style of riding. That is a singular statement I just said.
Say you probably ride prototypical, a little American style, forward seat, that kind of.
I think the traditional American style. I think we've gone a little bit, but I think like anything, you try to ride a certain way, and for me, if it isn't working, then I change, and I don't really, I don't care. There's no pride in it has to work this way. It just has to work.
And you have to do, be your own person, be your own way, be honest, that kind of thing. And I think that's you're pretty unique in that. You're weird as, what, but it comes across as and is naturally you and genuine, and that's the best part. And I think people appreciate that. But that's a really good point. You got to be able to find your own way to make it and not force into a certain mold.
Yeah, like if I was teaching someone, I would tell them how I would tackle the scenario. But if they can't do it, then we got to find another way. If I say this bit is perfect for this horse, well, someone else rides differently. Their leg is a different length. They use their leg differently. Everything is different. So you have to find, there's not one right solution. Might be the right solution for me, but it's not for someone else. And that's the way I think with the horses that I work with is you got to find the solution that works for me with that.
One Harry Cook.
What's your deal with these new bits? Are you just trying to do it to sell bits, or you genuinely think they work?
They genuinely work. That's why
They work for you.
they work for
They
me.
work for other people?
They do. There have been a number of bits that I've designed that I keep myself, and I've never
Did you have to get them approved with anything? Are there any guidelines?
quite loose rules. But I thought about producing this one in volume and selling because it had a wider working range. It had less risks if you misuse it, and I felt like it does things that no other bit does, and so it can give a solution to people
Braden James.
where they've never found a solution before.
One last call for Braden
and-
James. I didn't see him.
It's been fun, starting to see people ride in the bit and just seeing,
All right, Gary,
work with it.
It's
It's,
this
cool.
film and the other one. I think
Sure.
I'll come over there.
Awesome.
Braden the gate.
Karen 1, Beaker. Harry 2. Keeps coming on the way. But yeah, no, that's awesome that you created this whole line of products that you can bring to market in this. Again, like you said, it's the way it works for you, but let everybody else experience that.
And I'm open about it. Like, this is what it works for me. This is what I use it for. This is why it was designed. This is how it functions. But someone else might find it works differently.
Was you physically? I've been in your shop before. Obviously, you didn't make it.
No.
Not even the first one, or
No.
play around with it, or
No, I had the idea for it and I drew it up. And at that time, I had a really good guy that would do one-off custom work, custom bit making that it had made all my other bits. And so I just drew it up on graph paper and sent it to him. And it, like the other ones, it came exactly as I had drawn it.
Yeah.
And it did what I hoped it would.
So you're pretty much in every aspect of this industry, creating products, riding, breeding. Your family's big into breeding. Are you ever going to get into horse shows?
I mean, we've thought about it. We've tickled around the possibility, but there's so many people other than Derek who do it great, and I don't need to step on their feet except for Derek. Just kidding. No, I mean, maybe if the right situation shows up with the right owner group, the right management, the right vision, we could get behind it. But right now we've got a lot of irons in the fire and things are working, and I don't know if we need to toss another one in there.
Well, I appreciate you joining us on this episode of HorseShow360 podcast. Definitely provides an awesome light into you know, what it takes to put on a horse show of this caliber, the details that go into it, all of those kind of things. Obviously, we at Split Rock always appreciate you come to our events. You've been coming to our events since like 2016. I think you won the Grand Prix at our old farm on Caillou. I remember it. It seems like forever ago, but
It does.
I really appreciate it.
Of course.
And hopefully we see you at the next one.
Let's do it.
Thanks so much.